Hello, and welcome to another episode of Getting to Self-Actualization. I am Yasheka Foster, and if you are watching me on YouTube, then you are watching me on YouTube up under Hood Parenting. I am a life strategist and self-actualization coach, and as we continue, Getting to Self-Actualization started off as a series that I wanted to do over a 6-month period, right? But then I decided, why do it that way? So what I decided to do was make this Getting to Self-Actualization series into a 28-day series. So although if you've been following this, there is no way to follow, like there's no chronological order in which to follow any of the episodes. But I will say that this is day 17. So if you've been rocking with me for the last 17 days or so, then thank you. I appreciate you. And I hope that you have gotten something or continue to get something from these episodes. And listen, we're halfway through it. I mean, when I say halfway through it, we're more than halfway through it. But today we're talking about something simple but powerful. Naming what you need. Listen, and I'm going to say this again. That is so simple, but it's one of the things that people have a hard time doing. Saying exactly what they need, right? Saying it to a way where it's understood, communicated effectively, and the other person understands clearly, right? And that the message that you're portraying, that you're saying to that person or relaying to that person is understood. And a lot of times, I want to ask the question. Here's what I want to know. A lot of times, when we're talking about asking for what we need, something that I want you to think about is it that a lot of people don't ask for what they need? It's not simply because they don't know what they need, but is it that they're afraid that if they ask for something and it turns out to be what they don't desire, then they feel like they've done it to themselves? Think about that for a second, because we're going to talk about that too. So listen, most people don't know what they need because they don't even know how to ask, right? Let's get into it. Number one, most people don't get what they need because they don't even know how to ask, right? We are conditioned, especially in minority communities, underprivileged communities, or communities that are in the survival mode communities, right? I won't even necessarily say people or a person like me, like a woman or a black woman or anything like that. Literally, people that come from survival mode, right? We're not used to asking for what we want because a lot of times we are told no, or we're not really sure about what we want, or is it that we what we want, we already know that person can't provide. Who knows? What is it, right? But when we talk about what we want, again, we are conditioned, depending on what society, what type of environment we come from, that asking for what you want is something that you don't do, right? Because even when we're fine, we'll say we're even when we're overwhelmed, we'll say we fine, right? You can see someone that looks like they're stressed out. Hey, how you doing? They'll say, I'm fine. Even when you know that they're overwhelmed. Why? Because asking for assistance or asking for help in any kind of way, right? First of all, most people don't do it because of their pride. Another thing is that they don't even really know what they need. All they know is that they're overwhelmed, right? They're overwhelmed, right? You guys ever heard the expression closed mouths don't get fed? I know you've heard that because I know my parents. I mean, I've said it, I've heard it, I said it to my kids, I've heard other people say it. But have you ever heard that misnamed mouths get fed the wrong thing? In other words, closed mouths don't get fed. But at the same time, if you don't ask exactly what you want and you don't speak clearly about what you want and you say something else, then you might get the wrong thing because you wasn't clear, you wasn't specific, right? You didn't articulate what it is that you needed in that moment, in that time. Because see, we have this thing a lot of times that we feel that people are mind readers, right? And I think this is especially so when we are in relationships. When we are in relationships, a lot of times we will think that people are mind readers, right? Or better yet, we'll do things in relationship hoping that those things maybe get reciprocated in one way or another, right? Instead of us simply saying, hey, this is what I desire, this is what I need, right? Because we're almost like, okay, and how I know this to be true, I have another YouTube channel, and this is a shameless plug, but go on over to the X Numas and check me out over there. So that particular YouTube channel, the X Numas, is a channel that I do with my ex-husband. Okay. And one of the conversations that he and I were had, now, mind you, our divorce was 15 years ago, but it still goes to show, even after all this time, right, of us being friends and raising our kids and all the things, the time has passed, we can still have the conversation. And it's very clear that I was not specific about what I wanted or needed. And I was in the business of thinking that he could read my mind in a lot of instances, because he said things to me during the taping that he didn't know that I wanted certain things. And so when I expressed to him things that I did to show him that these were the things that I needed, he told me that he didn't see it as that way. He just saw it as just things that I was doing, and I didn't. And so I really understood that when it comes to talking about what we want and what we need, we have to be really clear. We have to make sure that we communicate our desires to that person. And like I said, especially in a relationship. All right. But when you're talking about being self-actualized and then being able to talk about what you need, or the power of saying what you desire, self-actualization requires us to have clarity over confusion. And so you have to be very, very clear and very, very specific about what it is you want, what it is you desire. Because in order to be self actualized, you have to be clear about your path. You have to be clear about what you need in the moment, because no matter where you are in life, no matter where you go in life, no matter what part of life you're on, you don't get there just by yourself, right? Sometimes we may feel like we do. We may feel like we're on our own. We may feel like, you know what, no one else in the world is going through this but me. We may feel all the things. But when you think about it, there are people in your life that play significant events or significant roles to help you to get to where you are. And so sometimes, even though if you did not ask, and maybe there were times when you asked, there were people that maybe was sent in your path to help you and you didn't know it. Or maybe there were people that were sent along your path to take care of something that you didn't even know you needed taken care of, and you didn't know it. And so there are so many things that happen. But one thing is clear: in order to be self-actualized, you have to be specific about what you desire and what you want. And that it means exactly talking to the universe, talking to people, everything, right? Talking, putting your words out there. Your words are very, very powerful. You manifest what you want by saying it over and over again, and then doing the things that aligns with that manifestation. And so if you say that these are the things you want, whether it be love or career, particular career, or finances, or having a particular relationship with a family member, or living somewhere, or desiring something for yourself, education or shape, or getting your hair colored, whatever it may be, right? You have to speak those things into existence, right? This is the same thing as manifestation. And so you talk about it as if you are there. So you'll talk about it in those instances, and you have to be very, very clear, right? When you're asking those things, you have to ask and be very clear and talk about it. Thank you for this fill in the blank that you've given me, right? Thank you for this that I've received or I'm receiving, right? You talk those things, you say those things, you ask for specifically what you want, whether it's to the atmosphere, to the universe, or to a person. Okay. The next thing, start small, but get specific when it comes to the things that you ask for, right? And you need to name three things, right? I challenge you right now to name three things that are non negotiable in this season of your life, right? Not wants, not dreams, but needs. The things that you need right now in your life. I challenge you to give me three non negotiable things. And although they might be small, they need to be specific. And when I say specific, for example, you might say, you know what? I desire, or I would like, or I want to have some me time. from this time to this time, or first thing in the morning, or when I'm having my coffee, or whenever and ever, especially if you have a family where you have kids, you have a spouse, whatever it may be, right? It might be something very small that you need, right? But then it also can be something bigger. It could be simply, I need consistent income to feel stable. Okay. You're talking to the universe. Maybe you're talking to a spouse. Maybe you're talking to a friend, but you say it and you start there. Those are non-negotiables. So think of three things that you need right now in this point in your life and make it non-negotiable and say those things and go ahead and put them down below because I could think of a lot of things that I need. However, in terms of the things that I need right now that I know are non-negotiable, that is a partner for me, right? A specific partner, right? And reason why I say it's non-negotiable is because the things that I desire in a partner, it's nothing outrageous, it's nothing, but at the same time, my desires for this partner are non-negotiable because this is what I put out to the universe, right? Another one I have the ability to be able to provide for my children and my extended family the way that I've been doing. But now that everything is going up, I need to be able to provide at a higher level. So I want to be able to have that type of income that I can provide for them. What I don't have to check my bank account before I go make a withdrawal. Okay. I want that kind of life. I desire that kind of life. I will achieve that kind of life. Those things are non negotiable. This is why I work. This is why I continue to do what I do because they are non negotiable. Right. And then, of course, my health. Okay. When it comes to my health, right? I mean, these are things about me. And when it comes to extended things, but these are things about me. When it comes to my health, the things that are non negotiable is my workout routine. Those things are non negotiable. I have to work out a certain amount of times per week because if not, then my brain gets cloudy. It gets congested. I get it's like I have like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde or something because I'm like a whole different person if I go too long without working out. I have to do something that allows me to release those and to do those things, right? To release that energy. I have to do something. If not, then listen, I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, okay? I really am. And so those three things in my life are non-negotiable. I would never negotiate what I desire in a partner. I will never negotiate my desire to keep on moving forward to be able to supply for or to take care of my family financially, and I will never negotiate my health. Those are things that I would never negotiate, right? And so for me, I've worked my way up through those other things, okay? Because why? I'm at the stage of self-actualization where I get to do what I'm put here to do. Why? Because all the other levels of Maslow hierarchy of need for me are met. Now, are there some things that every now and then I have to go and adjust and reestablish? Absolutely. But for the most part, though, I have a beautiful life, right? And I'm living the thing that I want to do. I want my own platform. I know that I'm meant to stand in front of people and speak the things that I've experienced, the things that I've learned, the things that I've heard other people tell me about. Like I am a storyteller. I literally carry the stories of the ancestors, right? And what I mean by that is I literally talk about things that I see in the world and how they go on right now, things that I see in other people's lives and how those things affect them now. These are things that I feel that are ancestral stories, meaning that when I'm talking to people, I'm able to talk to them because I'll feel things and I'm able to talk to them from there. So I know that I'm at my highest level of self-actualization. And so if I desire this for myself to be able to stand on my own platform, how do I do that? I make a way for myself. These things are non-negotiable, right? These things are non-negotiable. Me showing up for me is non-negotiable. So how do you put yourself into the things where you say, okay, these things are the things that I want, and you say it with listen, with no hesitation, right? You say it with conviction, with no hesitation. These are the things I want, and these three things are non-negotiable. Listen, I want to hear what they are. Okay. I want to hear what they are. So because I'm nosy like that. All right. I'm the auntie that you didn't know you needed in your life. All right. I'm the auntie or the yaya, depending on who I'm talking to, that you didn't know you needed. So I want to hear down below. What are your non-negotiables? Okay. Because I want to talk about it. I want you to think about it. I want you to dive deep and I want you to share what are your non-negotiables. All right. Now, Something that I wanted you to also know, and this is what I was talking about earlier, how you say, you know what, these are the things that I want. However, you have the right to change your mind about what you want and what you need and what you desire. Every milestone in your life, and when I say milestone, it can be a situation. So, say for example, you go from having a child to two children, or no children at all to having a child, or you go from having, a certain level of income to having a larger level of income. Whatever it may be, right? Whatever it may be. Whenever you enter a new milestone, or you go to a new milestone, or a new decade, or something in your life, whether it's a birthday or whatever, your wants, your needs, and your desires change. Let me tell y'all something. The first time I got married, I was 18. Okay. If you've heard me talk about this before, then you trust me, you're gonna hear it a lot of times, because these stories, and the story is very, very relevant to all that we talk about in terms of self-actualization. Okay. Now, this isn't a shot to any of my ex-husbands, because y'all know I didn't have two of them. But anyway, what I will say is this: the first time I got married, I was 18. What I required, or what I desired from my spouse at that time, is not the same thing that I would require, or desire from my spouse now, when I get married again and I'm in my 50s. I'm two different people than I was then. At 18, I was still trying to figure out how to rub two nickels together and make a dime. Okay, I really was. So clearly at 52, I'm not making no dimes no more. I'm not rubbing no nickels together no more. We're talking more. I need more, because I'm not where I'm at before. My first house I bought, brand new, built it from the ground up. I barely hit six figures in paying for it. Right, that was in the early 2000s. Barely hit six figures paying for it. Didn't even hit six figures paying for it as far as the sticker price, and I built it from the ground up. Right, but that same house would not be okay for me where I'm at right now at this age. Now, could I make it work? Absolutely, if I had to. But where I'm at now, in the house that I own now, or the house that I own also, is different from that. That was what I call a starter home. That home does not fit my lifestyle right now. Right, same thing. And so you have the right to change your mind at any time. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that when you change your mind, it doesn't affect something, it doesn't have consequences, it doesn't have any of those things. Because I don't know what your decision is. I don't know what you're changing your mind about. But understand this: when you desire something, or you want something, or you ask for something, you are not, listen, you don't have to stay stuck to that thing. Okay. If I remember, there was a time, I kid you not, when I was like 10 years in the army, 10, 12 years in the army. Okay. I remember saying, when I got to the six-figure mark in my bank account, was time for me to retire. Now, I wasn't talking about the good six figures that's almost to the seven figures, even a half a mil. I was talking about, as soon as I cross over to $100,000 saved in my bank account, I was going to be good. I was going to be set for life, because with my retirement and then this money saved over here, I'm good. When I said that, I was about 30, 31. Okay. I don't even think that was in the early 2000s. By the time I retired in 2016, do y'all really think I felt that same way about a soft 100,000? Because, baby, when I tell you run through it really quick, you run through it really quick. Because back then, six figures was the goal, right? Six figures was the goal when I was in my 20s or my young 30s, right? 30, 31. That was the goal, six figures. So in my mind, if I got that already saved in the bank, and then I got my retirement on top of that, I'm set. No, no. Y'all hear the beginning of this conversation where I say I got to keep moving forward to help take care of myself and my family, right? Right? No, so I got to make more money. So them six figures, no. If we're gonna do six figures, I need to be 999,999. Okay, that kind of six figures. Where just one more dollar and I'll be over the seven figures. That's the kind of six figures we need. Okay, so again, what I desire at 20 or 30 is not what I require or desire at 50 or in my 50s. Okay. So you have the right to change your mind, and you have the right to change your mind without feeling guilty about it, without feeling like that, you know what, people are look at you and say, okay, well, you feel like you this, or you feel like you too good. Maybe. I don't know. But right now, I know that I'm in a season where I need more in my life, and I want more, and I desire more. And you are the one that gets to decide what that more looks like for you, not anyone else. You. That's it. You. I'm talking to you. You get to decide what that more looks like, right? And like I said, sometimes I'm not going to promise you that it's not going to come with some consequences, because it's how it depends on what you're changing your mind about. But understand this, you have the right to do so. So today I want you to speak out. I want you to speak out. I want you to write it. I want you to text it to yourself. Do whatever you got to do, but name what it is that you need. All right. It is not too much. It is never too much. It is not complicated. And you have been quiet and you need to make noise. All right. And so down below, go ahead and comment what's one thing you need right now that you've been afraid to say out loud. So even though you told me those 3 non-negotiables, now tell me one thing that you know that you need, but you've been afraid to say out loud. You listen, tell it to the universe. Talk about it in the comments below. Okay. Listen, I don't know who this is for, but we are continuing on again with this getting to self-actualization, a 28-day process to get you there. And if you've been following along in this series, I appreciate you. And if this is your first time coming and seeing my videos, listen, check around, look around, all right? Look around and see if you want to stay around, stay a while. Consider subscribing, turn on your comments, whatever it may be. But if you are looking for a self-actualization or life strategist, listen, hit me up in the DMs or go ahead and schedule yourself a consultation. It's no obligation, no obligation at all. Go ahead and schedule yourself a 15-minute consultation. All right. So join me tomorrow. All right. Tomorrow, and with another day of getting to self-actualization. And like I tell you guys all the time, once you talk to me on that 15-minute consultation, trust me, you're going to be like, you know what? I didn't even know I needed her in my life, but I need her in my life. And I want to hire her to be my coach because she brings all of the sprinkles and glitter and sunshine. And I need sprinkles and glitter and sunshine in my life. So anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Bye for now.